I'm going to be sharing with you in this video the secret to abundance. Now, what is even abundance? Like, before I get into abundance, it's a very general term. Like, what does that even mean? Are we talking about financial abundance? Are we talking about energetic abundance? Are we talking about emotional abundance? Are we talking about the abundance of friends? Are we talking about the abundance of food or supplies or just generally having good relationships in your life, friends, business partners? I'm talking about all of that. And I'm going to share with you in this video the core energy that you need to tap into in order to manifest external abundance in your life. Now, you don't need to, but it's a lot easier to get a reflection of external abundance. And I could argue that to some degree, when somebody's in a lack state of consciousness, no matter how much they try with their will, from that state of consciousness, the universe will always reflect back to them that lack. So how can we overcome this? I'm going to share with you in this video how to tap into the frequency of abundance in order to feel energetically abundant, which is like, if your goal is to feel energetically abundant, this is the video for you. But as a bonus, you're also going to have a much easier time seeing an external reflection of abundance in your life as well. So this is going to be the secret to abundance. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. Also, I do have a group program coming up in the next couple of months that's going to be super powerful. Enrollment is closing soon. So if you want to be a part of the program, or if you want more details on the program, the link will be in the description box of this video. So what's the first step to tapping into a frequency of abundance? What is this energy of abundance that Francis is talking about? What is this energy of abundance? Well, here's the thing. Everything is vibration. Everything is frequency. This is why when we have a person that wins the lottery, but they're in a lack state of consciousness, statistically, I don't know the exact statistics, don't quote me on this. I don't do a lot of research on studies these days, but I do have a memory of something that I read online. So again, I don't know the validity of this, but pretty sure this is true. You can look this up later if you want, or comment down below if you know what I'm talking about. But the person that wins the lottery, statistically, based on what I remember, so don't cling on to the validity of that, but what I remember is that basically there's a very high percentage that the person will lose all that money very shortly after they win that money. They'll spend it on a lot of things, and then somehow, some way, they lose all the money and they become poor again. Why is this the case? Why is this the case? Why couldn't that person sustain that money? Why couldn't they sustain the financial abundance? Why does that statistic exist? Why did that person lose the money? It's simple, because they were not energetically at the frequency of abundance. All that subconscious programming, all that negative self-talk, the paradigm, the reality that they're living in is not an abundant reality. They're only focused unconsciously on the lack. And so they blow all that money on whatever. You know, I'm not going to give examples, but who knows what they spent the money on, all right? Who knows? They could have spent it on whatever. But the key insight here is the energy. The energy. So this is why actually to keep giving somebody money that's in a lack state of consciousness is a good thing, don't get me wrong, but it could even be a disservice, because the better thing to do is to teach somebody how to tap into the energy of abundance. And that's exactly what I'm sharing with you here. Now, don't get me wrong, financially helping somebody is a beautiful thing. But if it's at the expense of teaching that person how to really learn how to enter that frequency of abundance and manifest their reality into existence, then that's a disservice, because it's a very powerful disservice to not teach somebody how to step into their power. Now, I'm rambling on a little bit here, but the key is to step into the energy. So where was I going with all of that? The vibrational frequency that you're resonating on is the key here. It's how you feel in your body. If you feel that you're at a lower state of emotion most of the day, and you feel all that negativity, all the resentment, all the resistance to the present moment, what's happening is that you're pretty much blocking the abundance that automatically flows into your life when you're connected to the divine of life. That's what happens. So all that resistance to the present moment, all that complaining that the ego does, all that resistance saying, I shouldn't be here right now, I need to be in some future moment in order to feel fulfilled with my life, in order to be happy, and only once I get this thing outside of myself, then I'm going to be able to feel the abundance. That's the story that's blocking not only a feeling of abundance in your body, but the energy of abundance that's automatically going to bring the opportunities into your life. Now, it's not in a woo-woo way. You're still going to have to take some actions. You're still going to have to do some stuff. You're still going to have to do some stuff. You're still going to have to do, but are you connected to the being of abundance? It's not to neglect the humanness of what you are. It's not about not taking action. Action and systems and order are just as valid as letting go in this reality. But there's a yin and yang balance where we can be right in the middle. This is what they call in some cultures the middle way. Being right in the middle, right? You're still doing what you gotta do, but you're not neglecting the fact that sometimes we need to just let go of attachment and step into that frequency of abundance by just allowing the moment to be as it is. Allowing the moment to be as it is doesn't mean that you can't manifest your reality into existence. In fact, the more that you accept where you are with no resistance, then from an energetic space of non-resistance to the present moment, you're much more able to manifest the reality that you desire into your existence. All change begins with acceptance. If you keep complaining about the reality that you're in, about the fact that you don't have money in your bank account, about the fact that you can't manifest the partner, about the fact that you don't like your circumstance, does that help you manifest? It might be an initial drive to learn the path, right? You complain long enough, you let that anger fuel you, but let's be honest, that's not what most people are doing. They're complaining and they're not manifesting anything. And so why is this the case? Because the more that we resist where we are, the more that we attract what we're resisting. What you resist in yourself and the other, you become. When you resist the present moment that you're in, you're not allowing yourself to process the emotions that come up to the surface. This is what blocks abundance. This is what blocks you getting to the higher levels of consciousness that you desire to be in, that's going to lead to the abundance that you want in the external world as well. You wouldn't believe that so much abundance has come into my life the more that I just tap into that frequency of abundance. Now, control is still beautiful. Doesn't make you any less spiritual to control and to manifest and to attract what you want and to work hard, so to speak, towards your dreams. But the question is, how do you feel in the process? And this is what I noticed, is that all things in life are valid. Everything is valid. There's no right or wrongs in life. There's no judgment towards like, oh, this path or that path or this path. But for me personally in my life, what I found is that how I feel is the default for all manifestation. When I feel in an energy of peace and I feel like I'm in an energy of abundance and alignment with the present moment, it's just like I'm still doing stuff. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to give you the impression that it's like I'm just chilling in my room and then the money just flows into my life. But if I'm in a coaching call, for example, or I'm recording a video and I'm in the frequency of abundance, more stuff tends to just come my way. Now, why is this the case? Because abundance is a giving. When you're abundant, you have your cup so full that you have the ability to give energy to people. Because giving from a space of not having your cup full is sacrifice. And this is what most people think giving is. Giving should feel like it's not something you need to force. It just comes out because you have so much love in your body, so much abundance, that you just have to give it to the world. You just need to spread that love to the world. And that's the frequency of abundance. You're just giving, and you're giving. You feel called to record a video. You feel called to produce some art. How can people not be attracted to that energy? How can you not be financially abundant when you're producing, for example, like beautiful art? You know? I mean, that's not always going to be your intention. Because when you're in that frequency of abundance, you're giving just for the sake of giving. But what happens is you get that reflection, and this is the energy of abundance. This is what I'm talking about. When you're just present, you just feel so peaceful. You don't need anything in return, really. That's the energy of non-attachment. So one of the steps to really be in the frequency of abundance is to not be attached to the reality that you're currently in, right? Not be attached, not be in resistance to the present moment. So here's the thing though. Some people can misinterpret attachment, and this is super important, by the way, because the secret to abundance is non-attachment. That's one of the secrets. One of the secrets to abundance, energetically and externally, is non-attachment. But here is the thing with non-attachment. People misconfuse non-attachment and detachment as being so out there and ungrounded into the ethers that you're not in this reality anymore. It's like, oh, that spiritual person's so detached, right? So detached. They're not connected to reality anymore. That person's going nuts. But very common misconception that I noticed when it comes to what detachment truly means. What I perceive detachment to be, at least the way that I use that word, because remember, everybody defines words differently. Who decides what a word means? You. But here's the thing though. What I personally, this human vessel, when I say I mean this human vessel in this context, but sometimes when I say I'm talking about universal consciousness. We'll get to that later though. When I'm talking about this frequency of abundance and I'm talking about detachment, what I'm really referring to, so to speak, is being so connected to your feelings, being so connected to the present moment, but you understand that the experience is not what you are. The experience is not what you are. You are not the experience. You are not the person. None of this is you. Now, it is you from one context, depending on the perspective that you're living from and the consciousness that you're living from, but ultimately, essentially, it is not you. You are the container in which this vessel is. Now, why is this important? Because when you become detached, you're not disconnected from life. You're very connected to life. You're just not attached to it. You're not clinging on to it. There's no, this is me, this is mine. There's no need anymore. And that detachment changes the way you act. It changes the way you carry yourself. It changes the way you live. And then it changes, eventually, in my experience, what reflections you see in the external world as well. Because everything in life is a reflection. You've heard this before, but what does it mean? It means that start noticing when you're at a frequency of lack, how people act around you. Start noticing it. When you feel all this lack, how do people act around you? Like, you know, when somebody, when you feel like you're acting weird, and then somebody else is like, you can sense that they're feeling it. They can feel it. It's not just your mind. If you're at that energy of lack, and you think you're acting weird, that person's gonna feel that energy. They can actually feel that. And you can feel that when somebody comes off to you also with that energy. Now, it's not a judgmental thing, but you know what I'm talking about. It's because there's a disconnection, there's an attachment to what is. And you're so attached that you're unwilling to drop whatever it is that's creating that anxiety, just to shift into that energy. Like, the more that you shift into the energy that you're in, you'll eventually transmute that into abundance, and then you won't be like acting weird, so to speak. I'm using weird in the context of like social interactions here. But this goes for money too. When you're like acting weird with money, the universe is just like, why are you acting so weird? It's like the universe doesn't actually do that, but it's like just to, in a way to explain it, the universe is just like repelled by your need for money, just like that person, when you're attached to the conversation, and you're attached to the way you speak, and you're attached to how you're going to say things next, how you're going to be speaking, what you have to say. Do I need to plan what I need to say? No, the more you plan what you say, the more that you start acting and stumbling your words. I'm not saying I don't stumble my words, but it's like you don't feel good while you're stumbling your words. There's like a resistance because you're attached. That's the attachment. The attachment creates that feeling. And then the feeling creates scarcity. Do you see what I'm saying? Detachment raises your frequency. It gives you a better feeling. The better feeling changes the way you are. You are what you attract. There it is. That's the secret to abundance. In one sentence. You got to replay that. That equation right there will manifest abundance for you. So detachment raises, I'm going to go through that one more time. Detachment raises your frequency, and the more that you detach and the more you raise your frequency, the more you change how you feel on a consistent basis, the more that then you change the way you are, and then you attract what you are. So when you become abundant, because you're detached, you then attract more abundance. Now, the beautiful thing is though, that once you're in that frequency of abundance, you're not going to necessarily need those things anymore. So you're going to be good either way. So it's not like you're doing it to manifest. Do it just to do it. Do it just to do it. Now, if you want to do this to manifest, go ahead. It's going to work either way. If your intention is to do this only for manifestation, it's probably going to help. But it'll help even more if you drop the need to manifest completely. Doesn't mean that you don't go after your goals. It doesn't mean that you don't go after the relationships. It doesn't mean that you still continue to create the reality you desire. But what it does mean is that you're going to be detached. You see what I'm saying? You can still do stuff, but the question is, what is the energetic space that you're coming from? What's the energetic space that you're coming from when you're going after what you desire? So the key to abundance really is the energy. This is what I really wanted to stress in this video, because the more that we can tap into a certain kind of energy, you'll start to notice things shift in your life. Now, what I want you to really understand before I end this video is I really invite you to start noticing how your frequency affects your life and the people around you and the situations that you attract. Don't take my word for it. Notice this. After this video, if you don't want to tap into a frequency of abundance, that's fine. But notice how at least, at the very least, like you don't have to do this, but my invitation is notice how your frequency affects not only you, but then what happens outside of you, so to speak, outside of you, because there is no outside of you, it's all you, but we'll get to that in another video. But start noticing this. Don't take my word for this. Notice that when you feel that pit in your stomach, that people act weird around you, that less opportunities come your way. Now, it's not to be OCD about it and be like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling negative emotions, so I'm manifesting negative reality. No, if you feel a negative emotion, you have to just take it as a sign to shift your energy. But you're not going to manifest things right away because, yeah, in the short term, you will manifest things on your frequency. But the key here is it's a compounding effect. You want to like train being in that frequency. Being in a negative state for like 2 seconds is fine. That's part of life. But are you going to stay there? Are you going to stay in that frequency? That's the question. It's not about being OCD and being afraid of having a negative thought or an emotion, but the question is, are you going to stay there? Are you going to let that define who you are? Are you going to let that define your identity? Are you going to let that define your life? That little emotion that came up? Or are you going to let it go and shift into the higher frequency? Into the frequency that you prefer to be on, in the frequency that you prefer to feel, in the frequency that you know is going to lead you to that life that you really wanna live. So my invitation to you is to start to become conscious of this in the short term, but don't be OCD about it. But in the long term too. If you're always in a negative state and you compound that over months and years, your external reality is not going to be so enjoyable. But if you're always, for the most part, training yourself to be in that frequency of abundance, you compound that over time, even when things start to fall apart in the external and the test will come. That's a whole nother video, how to pass the external reality shifting test, which is just to plant a seed for you. Let me know if in the comments below you want to see this video. But what happens is that when you step into that frequency of abundance, initially, after previously being in lack, things might start to be a little bit not so good, so to speak, in the external. But the question is, can you hold the frequency of abundance and then pass the test to then get the reflection of abundance anyways? It's just a test. It's a test. All the people saying no to you, if you have a business, the people that don't end up being in your life that you want to be in your life, the jobs that you don't get, whatever. All of that is a test. The money you didn't manifest, all of it's a test. It's a test. You feel, oh my God, I feel so good in my body, but nothing's happening in the external. In fact, things are falling apart in the external. That means it's working. When you feel peace in your body and things fall apart in the external, it means it's working. But can you pass the test? But let me know in the comments down below if you want to watch that video, because there's no time for that in this video. That's a 1 hour course. I could do a 1 hour course on that. In fact, that's what the group program is about. The group program goes into that too. So definitely check it out if you want to understand that. I could record a whole 5 hour course on just how to pass the test. But what you want to understand first is how to be in the frequency of abundance. Okay, so the key is really to stay in that energy and trust in that energy at all costs, at all costs. Not because you believe me and you heard Francis say it, but because you know the consequences of being at a low frequency. So to conclude this video, I want you to not take my word for this. Don't take my word for this. My invitation is start to test this. Test, how does my vibration affect my, first of all, peace? Second of all, how things happen outside of me, quote unquote. And I said that for a reason. So start noticing this, and you'll start to see that in the short term, if you feel anxiety, instant reflection usually, but also in the long term, it's a compounding effect. That is my invitation to you. So really be honest with yourself and how your frequency is affecting your life. And you'll start to see that your frequency does create your reality. And the secret to abundance is not about neglecting logic. It's not about not doing stuff, but having a foundation of a high energy can be very powerful and enhance the doings and the logic of your life as well. Okay? So, doings of life. Yeah, the things you do. That's what I meant by doings. So, that's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. Also, once again, the group program is starting soon. Enrollment is closing soon. So if you want to be a part of the program, and if you want more details on the program, the link will be in the description box of this video. As always, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.